Hey everybody, how you doing? Going to consider this part 2 to the 4-screen video highlight tutorial that I uploaded previously, where you have 4 video screens on the screen, and then each corner comes down and fills the screen, holds for a little bit, and then goes back up to its position. I'll leave a link in the video description to the tutorial on the 4-screen video highlight. If you're not familiar with what we're doing here, I recommend you go and look at that first, because this will just build on top of that. And here we're going to discuss sound. Now, we've talked about the hierarchy and the timeline, that the lowest numbered track of video or photos in the timeline takes precedence over everything else. However, that is not true with sound. Here I have 4 different video clips with voiceover audio and music, and I've already got them positioned in their respective corners. And when I start this up, you will hear all 4 videos over talking each other.
I'm from a real estate agent that belongs with a fairly large real estate company here in Central Iowa.
If you're going to do a voiceover after the fact onto your rendered movie, or just background music, that's no big deal. But let's say that you want to utilize the audio of each of the individual clips as they come down to full screen. That's what we're going to do today. I've rendered the 4-way video movie, and I've placed it here in the first track in the timeline. First thing you'll want to do is come over here to the little speaker icon, uncheck the audio for that. There is no longer any audio associated with that bass track. Now I'm going to make this a work-friendly workspace. Over here on the left-hand side, remember this clip on the first track, that clip is done. We're not going to be messing with that at all. So bring your cursor over to the left-hand side there until it's an arrow beneath the video track. Drag it all the way up, squeeze it as tight as you can. Do the same with the audio. Okay, so we know that we don't have to mess with that one at all. And here's a quick tip for you people. I just learned this the other day. You bring your cursor over here to the left-hand side of the timeline tracks, grab it and move it off to the right. Video track, audio track notations show up. You can change those to whatever you want to ease your workflow. The Cyberlink screen recorder is not showing my cursor go to the double arrow, but anyway, if you do it on your machine, you'll see it turn to a double arrow. So over here on track number 2, which is actually the first track of our 4-way screen, which in my case is the upper left-hand corner, you're going to want to bring your cursor over to the audio section until it turns into the 2-way arrow, and then drag it down to expose the wave form. Now, if you've done some trimming on your clips, what you're going to want to do is, that clip is highlighted in blue here, bring your cursor down. Again, I'm not sure if that's going to show or not. It turns into a dot. Set a dot there, that white dot on the audio levels. Come back to the other side and then set another one there. That's if those dots are not there already. So the video clip in track 2 is the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and that's the video that I'm going to want to come down and fill the screen first. So I'm going to leave the audio for this track as it is right now. That means the remaining tracks audio I wish to have muted at this time. So I'm going to bring my cursor over to the left-hand side at the beginning of the track. The hand will turn into a little arrow with a little square. You put it over the white dot turns red. Drag it all the way down, come to the back side of the clip, and do the same thing. You have just effectively muted that clip. Repeat this with the other remaining tracks. Now when I play this, we should only hear the audio from that first clip in the upper left-hand corner.
Well, I made a couple upgrades to the cargo trailer here. First,
and that's all we're hearing. I've gone into that first clip and I've set up the fade and the transition from the corner to the full screen. As you can see here, using the keyframes.
Well, I made a couple upgrades to the cargo trailer here.
First, I installed some LED lights.
And you can hear the audio for it. Back to the main screen, expand out that track that we just worked on, and you can see the dots and the lines showing the opacity levels. That's what you did with the keyframes in the PIP window, and it's represented here by the dots and the green lines. We can use these opacity markers as reference points for the sound that we're now going to adjust. Down here in the audio track, I'm going to bring my cursor down until it turns to that arrow with the square again, and then touch the timeline and create another dot there. And you see that that is directly below where the opacity on the video clip goes to 0. Right next to it, pretty close, I will add another dot. Now I'll put my cursor over that dot until the cursor nose shows red, and then I'll drag that all the way down, come over to the back side of the clip. Same thing on the back side here, and we've now just muted that clip from this point on. We're done with that track. We can collapse it and tighten it up and make room for the next one. I've played the video to the point where the window in the upper left hand corner has gone back up to its position after being in full screen. I've gone in on the upper right hand track in the PIP window as described in the other tutorial and set my keyframes for the movement of that panel down to full screen, holding for a second and then going back up to the upper right hand corner. Again, on the video portion of this track, you can see the green lines and the dots signifying the opacity settings of that clip. In the audio track of this second clip, the one in the upper right hand corner, you can see that I've added the dots in the audio waveform similar to what I did in the first clip, to where it's muted, fades into full volume, and then fades out. Here I have the video tracks squashed down, and you can see the audio tracks for the two clips that I've worked on already. Now that these dots in the audio track are set, if you don't like the way it is, say you want a little overlap on sound and you might have a dead area, then you just bring your mouse over to say, hey, this clip right here, highlight the clip, bring your mouse over until that dot turns red, and then you can stretch that up and down. You can only bring it over a certain distance, but let's say if you wanted to adjust that sound, you come down here to this one, and you can see the waveform increasing and decreasing. And so let's say you wanted to make a little more audio on that one, but then you want it to fade out, add another dot, and then bring it on down. This is completely customizable here. So just to repeat, I went into the PIP window for each of the individual videos that I had in the four-way, set the keyframes for those sections to come to full screen and then go back to their position. Then I came back here to the main timeline and, utilizing the waveforms on the audio, set the audio to fade out and fade in for each perspective clip. Here's the first clip in the upper left-hand corner. There's the clip in the upper right-hand corner. There's the clip in the lower left. And there's the clip in the lower right. You can see how the waveforms kind of match up with the opacity settings on each individual clip. Alright, we'll take a look at the finished product here in just a second, but I wanted to make a comment that, say you were doing this four-way video screen with a steady narrative, somebody speaking, what I would suggest then is you would take the best audio from one of the clips. You would highlight the clip, right-click on it, unlink video and audio. Now this clip here, this audio clip, is a standalone clip. I would then go through all the other video clips and mute them, and then that one audio clip would play through the entirety of the video that you made, where each individual screen goes to full screen and then goes back to home. Alright, let's look at the finished product. Well, I've made a couple upgrades to the cargo trailer here. First, I installed some LED light bars that I got on Amazon. I'll have a link in the description
and a 2016
below.
Doolittle Bullet 5x8 enclosed cargo trailer with barn doors. My mower is the Toro 20373 22-inch personal pace.
Kept up on the lawn care. The lawn's overgrown. I went and took a look at it last night. It's going to be one of those grass trimmer jobs before I can get to the Toro. I've heard something to the effect that in the last 60 days, we have not... Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, I've got some milestones to talk about. I've made some milestone achievements. First off, I have $1,000 in deposits. Now that doesn't sound like much, and you know what, really it isn't. But May has been a very weird month.
Okay, that's all I got today. Hope somebody can take some of this and put it to use. Thank you very much for your attention. Talk to you guys next time.